them and we put them over there and resurfacing them. So they were tucked away and it required a lot more taps to get them very, very quickly get them over here. Here on the top right, all the search functions are there. We found out that most people expect find functions to be on the top right of Windows. Go figure. So guess what? We put them there, right? It's a lot easier for you to find. Adding records here at the bottom. Anything that has to do adding, removing, sorting. Down to here at the bottom. Very easy. All clumped up together. Very easy to find. Here in the middle, for you to scrub and go through records. The middle, that little arrow icon allows you to swap the found set and the omitted set. So if I tap over here, it goes from 26 omitted to found. Took the wrong record to do that. It goes to 2 omitted and 26 found. Make sense? Really, really nice.
Do you have control over that? In terms of what's visible to the user?
You mean the user interface?
Yeah.
Check is in the mail. So here's the cool thing. As cool as the UI is, one of the best part is, I can actually hide it. Whole thing. 3-finger swipe up and the whole thing completely disappears.
And you can do it programmatically too.
And you can do that through the script step as well. Now here's a cool thing about this, right? Look how really nice. It goes full screen. Doesn't this look like a native iOS app at this point? It looks gorgeous. Look at the top, how it seamlessly just blends in with the rest of the OS. Now, you notice that here, the top bar over here, which we made a little bit better right here, not easy to tap over here, give you all the windows, really nice. You're going to notice that that top bar, compared with 13, it is thicker. It's about 10 pixels thicker. So you take your solution from 13 and you open it in 14, you're losing 10 pixels. That being said, if you hide it, you're getting a lot more space. And this gives you a lot more control of the look and feel of the solution. And my God, does that look nice.
In like Safari on the iPad, you could like drag a bookmark to your home screen to make a link to it. Can you do that with a FileMaker solution? So instead of having to go into the FileMaker app and then launch a specific solution, you make a shortcut that you can add on the home screen?
You can do that in 13.
You can?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Use a web clip.
A what?
Web clip.
Okay.
It's part of it's an OS thing. We support it in FileMaker Go, but that's been there since 12 or 13.
Cool.
If you have a Go file that a file that you have resident that you put into kiosk mode, and now you open it in 14. I didn't try this. We have a file from a while ago. What happened to kiosk mode?
Should operate pretty much the same way.
Well, but in other words, kiosk mode is gone.
What's with this?
Oh, okay.
I don't know what will happen with it if you.
In other words, it's part of the developer utilities, right?
Yeah,
you have to run something through kiosk mode. Is that just Cruft sitting back there, or what happens? Do we know?
We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
But this is really a much better experience than the kiosk mode.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. The idea is that you got now full screen and you can lock it down and.
I'm just wondering what happens with the file itself, whether you have to
redo it,
rebuild it.
It's completely tangential, but just because about the video container object.
Sure.
I was just thinking that has anything changed, or if you want to do a database, because let's say you want to deal with lots of video, but you don't want to host it and serve it, and you want to do a database of YouTube content. That would just be web viewer, and nothing has changed with that. And is there anything?
So I haven't tried this, right? I haven't tried this myself, but the engineers back at Wedge tell me that the container field can have a URL to a streaming video and work, and the controls will work as well. I have not tried it, but they say it works. I have not tried it, but they say it works. So you can embed a video that's say on a YouTube video.
Yeah.
You can embed it here in a container field, and you can still control it. So,
and so all of these control features could theoretically.
I have not tried it myself. I've not had time, but
that
would be really cool. That's really cool.
But like, how would you get that? And this is a dumb question. How would you get that URL into the container app? I mean, because it's
text.
Because I'm normally thinking of container object that you drag a file or a link to a actual file.
Yes.
So if you have a URL, I'm not.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Calculation, I would assume. We use
Probably the calculation. I don't know. That's what I was talking with one of the engineers behind us. He said, "Yeah, you can use stream." I was like, "Really? You do that?" But I'll get back to you. But he said you can actually stream a YouTube video. I'd love to try that.
That would be exceptionally cool.
Yep. But we'll circle back to that. What else I want to show you about this? No. So before we move out of here. Alright, so this solution over here, really nice. We got the users, they go mobile and everything, all that fun stuff. One other part of the solution is that customers need to be able to approve, right, or send back to review any of these assets. So, unfortunately, as much as we would love every single person on the planet to have FileMaker Pro installed on their computer, we'd love to sell those licenses. That's not true, right? But it is very likely that they have a web browser installed. So this is where FileMaker WebDirect comes into play. So we want to give our customers access to the solution. So I'll go ahead here and launch Safari. And let's say we gave them the URL here to our FileMaker WebDirect page. And you read it the exact same way, all right? So now we've seen it already on the desktop, on the iPad, and now also on the web. Exact same thing, you see the same icons, same user interface. So they go in here and go into approvals and they run solution. And it works exactly the same way. All the functions that we've been seeing so far, they work exactly the same way on the web. Really, really nice. Notice the user interface here at the top. We've redesigned it, really nice. Check this out. If I take the window and resize it, look what happens to it. Complete collapse and change. It's really nice, right? Because we don't know which size screen people are going to be using. Huge reason that. So let's say customer comes in here, decides, well, no, I don't like this one. I'm going to send this back. I'm going to send this back. Button bar, right? We got the placeholder text inside here. I don't know, something like that. All right. So he saves it, and it works exactly the same way, right? Now, here's the thing: customers, just like us, just like employees, they go mobile, right? They're not always attached to their computer. They want to go mobile. So, now in FileMaker 14, FileMaker WebDirect supports mobile browsers on tablets. So, exact same user interface. Tablet. How cool is that?
Browsers plural.
Browsers plural. We'll talk about more of that.
That means non-iOS devices.
Other than iOS devices as well. Now here's where that user interface, that dynamic, comes into play. Right? If I change this, right? I rotate it. How that bar at the top here changes, right? Depending on the size of my screen. This is where it really makes a lot of sense. So let's say this user over here, he wants to set up a brand new request, create a new record over here. I don't know, new campaign over here. Check this out. I can have them. Smile.
Landscape.
Do another.
Seriously. Seriously. Now think about it. I just took a photo of a web browser. Think about it. It works exactly the same way, same interactivity that you expect from any of our clients, but on a web browser. And no web programming whatsoever. Got a question?
Now with WebDirect, is the script step for save as PDF enabled?
No.
Oh well.
You can try.
Does WebDirect now display conditional format?
Does it display conditional formatting? Did it not? I think it did.
Now,
these are optimized for a platform that you launch into. It's not the same. It's not the same layout that you have for mobile, for Pro, or for.
That is the same.
It's still recommended that if you're deploying FileMaker WebDirect, that you create layouts that are optimized for FileMaker WebDirect, and we have a complete guide to give you kind of the tips and ins and outs. But by and large, it works.
And if you use the theme consistently, you're 3/4 the way.
You're 3/4, yeah. So you should follow kind of the guidelines. You should, so that it's optimized, you get the best performance out of it. But by and large, simply just takes your existing solution and they work, right? And now, one of the things that doesn't work in FileMaker WebDirect because it's a web browser, right? Is layering, right? Or putting things on top of the other. Well, guess what? You don't have to put a graphic, a picture on top of a button to give it an icon. You can embed an icon, right? Now you've got all the tools necessary to do that. You don't have to layer stuff one on top of the other.
Custom menus?
And FileMaker WebDirect? Not yet. No. No.
Go. Can you
So you
append
can
PDF?
still put PDF.
Can you append PDF?
Run what check?
Right now you can do it
Instead
on
of the
desktop,
photo?
but it doesn't
You
work
can
on.
I believe so.
Save as PDF.
Save as PDF?
Excuse me?
It means like adding
Yeah,
additional
yeah.
pages.
Oh, adding at the end? I don't think anything was changed from 13. So it didn't work on 13.
So you still have to have this time once.
You need a robot at this point, essentially.
I presume
Another
the
question?
I'm in 12, so maybe this is fixed in 13.
Yep.
Is there conditional formatting functionality in the web version?
Yes. Yes. Awesome.
I'll presume the camera through the browser on a mobile device is limited to iOS, not Android. It won't be working for Android yet.
It'll attempt.
Oh, wow.
It'll attempt. But it will. It'll
Okay.
depend on that. We'll talk about that in a second.
Maybe this is another conversation, but let's say your client wants to try an online form response to something they're sending out, and they have no idea what the response will be, how many people are going to come in, and try to enter that form on a web browser that they sent out an email to, reply here. How does that get handled if they suddenly get 50 responses at the same moment that they didn't anticipate? And they only bought, let's say, 6 licenses or 10 licenses for connections.
Oh, licensing?
For connections. Is this another discussion? Because it's kind of like...
Same thing. Same thing as before. Nothing has changed with that. So she's asking, well, basically is, so FileMaker WebDirect licensing model for FileMaker WebDirect is on simultaneous connections, concurrent connections, right? So how many connections are open to the server using FileMaker WebDirect as the client? Now you buy these licenses and they're for simultaneous users, not per seat, not per user, but by simultaneous use. So if I got 5 concurrent licenses, I mean I can have up to 5 connections at any given time. If the 6 person tries to log in and I'm already using 5 of mine, it get a notice that says,
Try
it's full,
later?
Try again later or something. It's this really ugly notice. I think it's ugly. But it says contact your administrator. I think the slots of concurrent connections are full, something like that, something along those lines. But you can add more.
But if you have no idea what's coming up, it's, because sometimes you don't know how people are going to respond. Yes. Okay. Great.
I know you say Android tablet, but smartphone Android?
Conceivably.
Give me a second. And he's recording, so. All right, so I need to finish off. So there's a couple of things. So let me go through really quickly the requirements, and this will answer some of your questions on that. So first off, FileMaker Pro, as far as the OS on Mac, 10.9 and 10.10. On Windows, you got Windows 7, Windows 8, and Windows 8.1, and all these different flavors. FileMaker Go is going to be iOS 8.1 or later on different devices on iOS, right? iPad, iPhone, iPad Mini, iPod Touch. FileMaker Server. So, OS requirements. macOS 10.9, 10.10. Notice, not server. On the Windows side, you got Windows Server 2008 R2 and Windows Server 2012 R2. Notice no workstation version of Windows. So if you're installing FileMaker Server, it's going to be on a server class OS on the Windows.
I was able, in the past, you were able to try it on Windows 7.
Mm-hmm.
And it
That's been
wasn't
removed.
recommended, but it was working. So the demo won't work anymore.
It's not supported. It's
But
different.
will it block me?
Huh?
Will it stop me or just not recommended?
I don't know if it'll stop you. That's.
You can have
But
resource-
even if you get it working and he runs any issues, we won't be able to help
Yeah.
you.
I know, just want
That's
them.
that's really.
Has it been tested and it was tested?
If it's not here, we haven't tested it. These are the ones that we've tested and we know it works on, and the ones that will provide support if you call. So if you try any other flavors of the OS and you call up, we'll say we're sorry. All right?
There is a phone I can call.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Really? Yes,
Just have
absolutely.
your credit card ready.
Installation issues
Yeah.
are actually free.
Free.
Yes, you need the number.
It's on our website.
Website, FileMaker.com.
Mm-hmm. Support /
Okay.
contact. Hardware requirements for FileMaker server. For the database server, it has not changed. So it's still a minimum. It's 4-core CPU with 4 gigs of RAM. Sorry, dual core, 4 gigs of RAM. However, we recommend a 4-core and 8 gigs of RAM. If you're using FileMaker WebDirect, you may require a second machine. And this is great. So we basically reduced the requirements in half to what's required for FileMaker WebDirect. So if you're still using 1 to 6, you don't need a second machine. The first machine would be fine. From 7 to 25 simultaneous connection. The second machine could be 4-core, 8 gigs of RAM. 26 to 50 will be 8-core, 12 gigs of RAM. And 51 to 100. That's right, 100. 12-core, 16 gigs of RAM. This is really half of what it was before. So the configuration that's required in 13 for 50, now we'll hold up to 100 simultaneous connections.
So is 100 the maximum that FileMaker will handle?
So 100 is the limit that we will support for simultaneous connections, concurrent connections. And as far as licensing goes, for concurrent connections is actually the limit of how much we will sell. There's no longer an unrestricted version of FileMaker server. So you go from passive 5 up to 50. From 50, you can buy 75, or jump to 75, and then to 100. If you need more than 100, let's sit down and talk. I have not, anybody sit down.
Probably 2,000.
Huh?
Probably 2,000. They'll come at once.
They'll come at once, right?
If you want to use a standby server setup, you have to have web publishing on the same and the FileMaker server on the same machine, right?
Not necessarily.
No, you don't.
You're not.
Are you saying that for more than 6 concurrent users, you need 2 server machines apart from standby function?
If you're going to have more than 6 simultaneous, right, FileMaker Web Direct users,
Yeah.
connections, we highly recommend that you go to 2 machine deployment of FileMaker server. That has not changed from 13. However, the requirements have. Right? So again, half of the requirements, double the amount of connections. Yes, sir.
Any movement or strategy for dealing with somebody opening up simultaneous sessions in WebDirect on the same machine?
No. 2 tabs, it's a connection. So 2 tabs, for example, 2 windows are 2 connections. Because they can be 2 different solutions as well.
No, I understand. I'm just wondering whether because we talked about that, in terms of being able to control it and force somebody to only have one.
Yeah.
So wait,
Nothing has changed.
it used this 2 tabs as 2 connections?
Yeah.
So the same user connected to account takes up 2 spots on your server?
If you open up 2 windows or 2 tabs, yep.
Well, yeah, and it's a concern because the idea of somebody doing an unintended denial of service is kind of an issue, and so we were looking at can you do it via machine address, IP, and have it something back in FileMaker server, so the FileMaker server is self-aware of what IP address the actual instantiation is open on, and have that part of your logic, right? Where if somebody tries to launch another one, it just says no, you're already on this box, don't do it.
Yeah.
Now I haven't attempted that with the new version, but I was curious whether anybody else had.
Yeah, nothing's changed as far as.
So your slide should not say concurrent users; it should say connections, because it's one user connected
Right.
to the.
Yeah. Normally, the literature that was me. normally the literature.
No, it is concurrent. Concurrent is the correct term.
Yeah, but concurrent.
Users is not the right word though.
No, it's concurrent connections to server.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
correct.
I wrote here users.
Users is
That's
the
my
word he's
mistake.
using.
It's still correct.
Thank you.
No, but it is though.
Same user connected to the
solutions.
same
User
solution, logged in
connected.
on the same profile.
It's from the server perspective, not from your perspective.
Two solutions on
Yeah.
the same
Sure.
server which are related for some data, and the same user has privilege to both solutions.
Yes.
On WebDirect, when they hit that web layout that has the relationship between the two solutions, how many connections would that be?
So one.
Still
It's
one?
still open as another window on one. Top.
Even though it's looking at two solutions.
Back there.
Is there a recommended maximum file size for when you're posting something online and you have people accessing maybe on the web but not through Wi-Fi, through 4G or something like that, to actually have it load and function?
File size?
Yeah.
No.
No, it becomes record load and what you're
Not really. Because what really matters is the weight of the layout and how it's constructed and other design elements, and not really the size of the file itself. It's
Okay.
not the entire file does not get downloaded to the user.
Okay.
Only whatever they're viewing. It's kind of like an iceberg.
Is that also true with the app? Like if they're on the app and they're connected to the server remotely through the app, it's just.
There's a variety of issues.
Yeah, that could be an entirely. We can spend hours on that, right? On design and development choices on that. But yes,
There's like 100 things that could happen with a file. You could be in a list view, a detailed view. You could have a portal. You could,
yeah,
it's a 2-hour topic.
Yeah, it is literally, and we've had it.
We'll have it again.
We can have it again. So requirements, the browser requirements. Somebody was asking this before for FileMaker Web Direct. On the desktop, Safari 8 and above, Internet Explorer 10 or 11. We are deprecating the 10, however, so start migrating. Chrome 38 or later. On mobile browsers, so let's make a distinction here. So we are supporting mobile browsers on tablets. We're supporting mobile browsers on tablets, the most modern tablets, right? So the browser we're supporting are mobile Safari 8 on iOS 8.1 or above, and Chrome 38 on Android 4.4 or above.
Works pretty good in Firefox though.
Thank you. These are the ones we test. These are the ones that we support. Will it work in other browsers? Maybe. We don't know. We haven't tested them.
Sorry.
So that's really what it comes down to.
Down,
so
boy.
if you call us and say, "Hey, it's not working in Firefox," this is sorry. Right. So that's really what it comes down to. For the phone, I don't know. The phone, I don't know. We haven't tested it. So it's not supported.
Richard Call says it works.
Huh?
Richard Call says it works.
What am I arguing with Richard Culture? You know. So, but that's the latest. So that's FileMaker 14. There's a ton more really in there. All of us, we're really happy about this one. We think it's a very solid release of the platform. I really can't wait to see what you guys come up with all the really cool things that are part of the platform. So, thank you again for your time, and I think we have enough time for some questions or some announcements.
Can we do some announcements? You want to start us off with the Women in FileMaker announcement?
Thank you. Thanks, Ronnie. That was wonderful. Hi, I'm Karen Seeger. I'm the head of business development and marketing for Colibri Solutions. And we are hosting and co-hosting with FileMaker an event called Women in FileMaker. Now, the idea is to attract a whole new generation of FileMaker. We talked about this at DevCon last year. We're not all going to be beautiful and young forever, you know. We got to get some new people in here. And we're particularly interested in attracting women, and not just recent graduates and interns, but also mid-career women in technology who are looking for a career change, looking to be entrepreneurs, or looking to add skill sets to their abilities. So who should come? Women at all stages of their career. We have several FBA members already coming who may have job openings coming up in the next 6 months. If you have an internship, if you have a job posting, you're welcome to come. you're welcome to come and just support the platform as well. It's going to be on June 17th, 6 to 7:30. There will be refreshments, and it's in the Apple Marketing Office at 105th Avenue. I have a couple of flyers, but see me and I will give you a card and tell you how to respond. We would love to have you. Thank you.
So a couple housekeeping announcements. First off, thank you to Ronnie for another excellent presentation. Also, everyone back at the Wedge, because it's especially the script fabric, but everything else as well. It really is a very impressive release. And I think they got it 98.6% right because they're human. Now, special thanks also to TechServe. TechServe has been hosting this, providing this space and all this cool gear that we use for a couple of years now. I don't know how many years. You're all at the New York FileMaker Pro user group meeting. If you haven't been here before, we have been meeting very consistently on the third Thursday of the month. And we're going to meet next month. I'm pretty sure we're going to be covering the scripting environment, scripting fabric. So you're all invited. It's once again free. How do you stay in touch? We have we actually have 3 different ways of staying in touch. If you haven't already, if you're not getting emails from us, we have a mailing list. You get 1 email per month, just basically